On Capitol Hill this morning, a high-profile top aide to former President Trump is facing a subpoena for information about the January 6th insurrection. Peter Navarro is a former White House trade advisor. In a book and in interviews, he detailed efforts to try and overturn the results of the 2020 election. Now, the House panel investigating the Capitol attack is demanding he provide records and a deposition under oath. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Leigh Caldwell joins us now with more on this. Leigh, good morning to you. So why is Peter Navarro's deposition important to the House Select Committee, and what does this subpoena tell us about where the entire investigation stands?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. So Peter Navarro is Trump's former top trade advisor, and like you mentioned, he wrote in a book and he gave interviews about the Green Bay sweep, is what he called it, in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Well, the chair of that committee, Benny Thompson, referenced that book in those interviews in a statement with this subpoena that was sent out, saying that Navarro hasn't been shy about his role in efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election and has even discussed the former president's support for those plans. The chair goes on to say that more than 500 witnesses have provided information in our investigation, and we expect Mr. Navarro to do so as well. So that is an interesting point as well, the fact that 500 people have complied and spoken in this investigation. A lot of people like Peter Navarro, who have been subpoenaed, have chosen not to cooperate. We'll see where Navarro goes, but he gave a big hint to CNBC when he claimed executive privilege with his conversations with the former president, a claim that has not held up in court. But this investigation is moving forward and getting closer and closer to the former president, Joe.
I want to ask you about another headline this morning, Leigh. The National Archives has asked the Justice Department to look into how former President Trump handled White House records. What's going on here? Why is that?
Yeah, this is a big development in this story that the Washington Post broke last week, that the archives is receiving documents from the former president that have been ripped up, shredded, taped back together, and that they also had to get 15 boxes of documents from Mar-a-Lago, which were supposed to be at the National Archives. Now, there is a law that governs this, that White Houses and presidents have to turn over all of their official information to the National Archives at the end of his term. And so there seems to be so many violations that the archives has asked the Justice Department to look into this, see if there were any laws that were broken. We have not yet heard from the Justice Department if they're going to do this. Sure.
And Leigh, let's talk about some legislation in the Senate. A big vote this morning on a bill that would change how sexual assault claims are handled in the workplace. What should we know about this?
Yeah, this is actually a big deal. Advocates are calling the biggest labor relations change for employees and workers in generations. So many companies require people go to forced arbitration if they have claims of gender discrimination, pay wage disputes, et cetera. Well, now on two specific issues, sexual assault and sexual harassment, being forced into arbitration, which benefits the employer, is now banned. So this is a very big deal that passed the House last week. It's going to pass the Senate today. Leader Schumer spoke about it on the Senate floor yesterday. Let's listen.
For decades, abusers have used arbitration as a shield for their horrific behavior. Employees have been put at massive disadvantage when trying to hold wrongdoers accountable. This law will finally change all that. I look forward to finishing the work of passing this bill through the Senate and getting it closer to the president's desk.
So this will impact 60 million Americans who are under these non-disclosure contracts, and it's going to be celebrated by a lot of workers, Joe.
All right, Leigh Caldwell, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.